Hello,
Hello. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I see your name is G dot dot dot. What's that all about?
Uh, I just go by the tag Ghost Blade, so you can feel free to call me whatever you want. I don't really mind.
Oh, I remember you. You're the one that you were doing the skull, I think logo for your YouTube. You were rebranding your YouTube, right?
Yes,
Yes. I remember. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Been working, grinding. Actually, over 100 subscribers right now.
Congratulations. That's awesome, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember you. I think you put a post about doing, I think it was Mario Party. Oh, was not Mario Party. It was Thousand Year Door, I think.
Paper Mario.
Paper Mario.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How did
yeah.
that
That's
go?
my current live stream.
Nice, dude. Good stuff, man. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we were just watching this pack out video about. I guess they were talking about people losing their jobs. Basically, media. I want to say Jimmy Kimmel is featured in this one. But yeah, it's
Oh,
just
you mean how he lost his job over his comments? To be
indefinitely
fair.
for now. And I think what was it? Jimmy Fallon is like the last one to be, I guess, left. Because I think they already took away the other guy. Who's the other guy? The other late night host.
Was it
Fuck,
Conan O'Brien
not Conan. I think he might maybe, but who was his
or is it
name?
Jimmy Kimmel?
No, it's the other funny guy. God, I can't think of his name right now. He was one of my favorites. He was oh man, I can see his face, but I don't know his name right now. He's
Oh,
got a very oh, God, that's gonna bug me. That's gonna bug me. I gotta get it. Give me 1 second. The
okay.
the late night host that was gosh, late night host. We just
I mean, when I was a kid, Jay Leno was still on the air.
Stephen Colbert. That's who it was.
Oh, that's right, Colbert.
Yeah.
Wait,
So
Colbert's getting kicked off too?
I believe it was. Hold on, let me find that list because I think it was in the news. It was in a whole post. Stephen Colbert, and then there was like a whole list of people actually. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
That's actually sad. Colbert's actually funny.
I like him. I like him. I used to watch the Colbert Report like long time ago, back when I used to watch television. Um,
Yeah, I remember that. He actually was pretty good on it. And then Comedy Central kicked him off for some reason. I never actually found out why.
yeah, I don't know. Oh wait, hold on. Maybe is it this one? You know what? I think you know what? I think I saw it on Reddit because I find everything on Reddit, man. Reddit is just like my hub for finding stuff. Let me see. Okay, Charlie Kirk, Jimmy Kimmel prove America's broken. No, that's not it.
Oh no.
Where is it? It was.
Charlie Kirk, what happened to Charlie Kirk was sad, but it's not unexpected.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, dude, like the thing is like there are people that are becoming divided over this whole thing. Like the people are just like they are speaking their mind, saying like that he was a racist and all this other stuff, and I'm like, bro, it's like not the biggest like. And then there's people like, oh yeah, you don't like people are going about the whole thing that he had a wife and kids and stuff, and then they list all of the people that were like horrible people in history that had wife and kids, and they're like, see, that's not a reason. And I'm just like, damn, man, it's I don't know. I mean, I just the way I just approach it from like a human perspective. I don't think anybody should have been killed the way that he was killed, so publicly and so available, for everybody to see. I mean, like his wife and kids are probably seeing this. I mean, they were there, but I know like as far as coverage, it's being shown everywhere, man. I mean, Instagram, Facebook, you can't get away from it.
Yeah, I mean, his wife unveiled she's pregnant with their third child.
See, I didn't
I
I
don't know
didn't
if
hear
that's
that. Damn, that sucks.
it was something I saw posted on Facebook. I'm not 100% sure if it's true, but it's not impossible.
Damn, dude.
Yeah,
K5, welcome to the stream. He says his middle name is Tyrone. Is that true? I don't think so. I think you're trolling me, Mr. K5. I did see that both George Floyd and Charlie Kirk have the same birthday. Did you guys hear about that?
I don't know if that's true. I would actually have to check.
I'm gonna check actually right now just to make
I
sure.
know Charlie Kirk is only 2 years younger than me.
I can't even spell Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk birthday. They said it was like October 14th, I believe. Yeah, October 14th is his birthday, which mine is the 13th, so it was the day after mine. And then let's check George Floyd. Yeah, October 14th.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a crazy coincidence.
Weird coincidence, yeah. And it's just wild because people are saying, like Charlie Kirk said all this crazy stuff about, black people, Martin Luther King, the civil rights movement, stuff like that. And people were like, dude, like he was saying a lot of this rhetoric that was like damaging to a lot of people, I guess put a lot of people, in bad thoughts about him and stuff. And when he did pass, people were just like, good riddance, whatever. And then he's like, the people that are saying like, oh, we're glad that he's gone, and then they're turn around getting fired and stuff for it. They're like, where were the people that were saying, oh, George Floyd has been sober for 5 years, like congratulations to him. Like they were saying that they were making that joke and like nobody was losing their job. It was just like they were like, it's not fair, But I guess it's just the way you look at it, I guess. This is the video. It's called White America Equals Delusional, and it's by Mr. Deleted. So let me know if you can hear the audio on this, and then if you want me to pause it at any point. This is just something I wanted to see, and I wanted to show it to the chat because I know this is something that was it's a perspective, and I believe the guy that did this video, I think he is a black person. I don't know if he I don't really know his views yet on whether he cared about Charlie Kirk or followed Charlie Kirk, whatever, but I think he's just kind of putting he's just shedding light on, I guess, the hypocrisy of the double standard, like you got Charlie Kirk, the guy that spewed a lot of opinions and stuff and views about Black America. But then now that he is gone, it's like, is it wrong for Black America to be unaffected by his passing? I think that's what's covered in this video. So let's just watch it and let me know if you want to pause it and say anything.
So the killer of Charlie Kirk got caught, and let's not play dumb. He wasn't black, wasn't Latino, wasn't an immigrant, wasn't LGBT, wasn't a Democrat, and he wasn't trans. Nah, he was homegrown Republican stock, raised on Fox News, family photos with AR-15s, Trump Halloween costumes, the whole.
What's that? It's coming through.
Going through your.
Oh, okay. So let me do this. Let me.
God, guns, and grievance starter pack.
Yeah,
that's who he was.
It's not echoing anymore.
But the second Kirk dropped, the right didn't pause for a second. They instantly went to war, but not with bullets, with microphones, with their big media outlets. And don't get it twisted, words are riots, especially when you're using them to spin mobs. They blamed everybody before they even knew who the shooter was. It was just coded racism, dog whistles, basically screaming the N-word without even saying it.
I'm gonna say this, Democrats own what happened today.
Cap. That's gotta stop right there. That's cap. That's cap right there. That's cap.
At no point did it ever cross their minds that it could have been.
Is it still echoing again? I can't tell. I had to turn down my own speakers to make sure my mic didn't catch it.
I didn't hear it echoing, but from what I understand, wasn't the guy that I called him a gentleman, the guy that shot Charlie Kirk, wasn't his parents both of them like Republicans? Wasn't he like registered a Republican?
From what I've seen by watching Tim Pool, out of everybody else in his family was Republican, but him.
Okay,
And
because
apparently
yeah.
he had some sort of transgender friend. I don't remember if it was girlfriend or boyfriend.
Oh, I heard that
I
it
don't think
was
that.
a trans roommate, but then I've also heard that it was that they were in a relationship. And then I've
Yeah.
also seen like some text messages that was released by the FBI. Apparently, I guess this message was after he shot Charlie Kirk, but the way that the message flowed, it didn't flow like a natural person was talking. They're like, I don't know. I might have to pull it up because it was like it seemed fake. The whole thing seemed fake from what was presented by the FBI. I'm like, yeah, I think this was manufactured. I think I can. Yeah, I'll pull that up. You guys just remind me about it. I'll actually look for it while I play this. I'm gonna mute my mic. Keep going.
One of their own. I mean, come on, it was more than obvious it was one of them. This happened in Utah, a state where black folks barely make up 1.1% of the population, and Democrats only account for about 13% of active voters. Do the math. Why would anyone
is
seriously
so
think it wasn't one of
untrue.
theirs? History
It's untrue that there's a small amount of black people, percentage black people in Utah. Is that the part you're saying is untrue?
Well, no, that is true. I mean, I am a resident of Utah. I was actually not in Orem when the shooting took place. I didn't even know until I actually saw the news.
Oh,
But
interesting.
as someone who is from Utah, there's, most black people, they don't really like Utah to a degree. I mean, the black people who have family who have roots here, they stay. But
Okay.
as for black people who are out of town, who are from outside of Utah, you know, my father was a cabbie for well over 20 years, and he's basically encountered everything that you can see on the Utah streets. And the thing that's been known inside of Utah but not outside of Utah is how, on the state level, yes, the governor and everything is Republican led. When you actually go to the cities, it's actually more Democrat control. I mean, if you actually go to the city council meetings, whether it be Salt Lake City, Taylorsville, Magna, a lot of those city councils are actually Democrat controlled. They don't advertise that out loud, but that's the actual sad truth.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, I've never been to Utah myself, so I have no frame of reference. I can only go off of what people say. So, if that's true, I mean, I just don't really. I've always saw Utah, from an outsider's perspective, that there's not a lot of black people there. It's mainly majority
Well,
white, from what I understand.
well, the thing is that is where is everybody? Most because Utah is kind of divided on the east and west lines for most of the cities. If you live in the west line, that's where you start getting into more cowboy country. And when you go far enough east, you get more like mountain man country to a degree. Same thing when you head north.
Okay. Gotcha.
So what they're saying, yes, Utah does have a small black population, but the thing that they don't talk about is the Latino population.
Oh, so there's a fair amount of Latinos taking up
Oh,
residence. Gotcha.
yes. I mean, just as an example, when I was a kid, I lived in an area called Rose Park. And if you talk about Rose Park today, they don't call it Rose Park anymore. Everybody who's local calls it Little Tijuana.
Okay, I gotcha. I think there's a little
Yeah.
Tijuana in every major city, so I'm very familiar with what that is. So,
Yeah. So, there was, this is, Utah isn't as culturally diverse as some people would like it, but we do have a large Latino population. And sadly, if memory serves, it was either the late 90s or maybe the early 2000s. A lot of black people, if memory serves, they actually moved out. I don't remember specifically where they went, but they moved out not because of the white people.
Hmm.
They moved out because of the massive Latino influx. There was, because I can remember one of the local news reports talking about how black people felt feeling completely disenfranchised when you had that mass Latino wave come in.
I see. So probably
And
not a lot of jobs or housing. Probably maybe being pushed out, or maybe not showing preferential treatment. Maybe.
no, it had more to do with, sadly, most black Americans inhabit below the poverty level.
Hmm.
And I don't say that to be mean, I say that to be honest.
Yeah, we're just speaking
Oh,
factual over here. We're not. I mean, I don't get offended by facts. I mean, it is what it is, and that's the thing. It's like you can't get emotional over what is true.
yeah.
So
And the big problem was that when you had that massive Latino influx into Utah, a lot of the black people left because they just couldn't, they couldn't get a job, they couldn't get a house, or they couldn't even get an apartment because what happens normally when a massive wave of people come in, rent goes up, property goes up.
yeah,
A
sure.
lot of them just left. Nobody talks about it, but it's actually one of the darker things that happened during that time frame.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think property is going up everywhere too, and even in like smaller cities as well as the larger cities. It's becoming harder and harder for people to own land and get affordable housing. It's like people are they're just waiting for this housing bubble to pop, so that they can get back out there and not have to struggle trying to make rent, in these apartment complexes. Because even the apartments are charging an arm and a leg now. It's like it's almost more than mortgages for most houses. So
Yeah.
it's tough.
I mean, I was scoping out apartments for my dad because he's living in this the buildings at this stage shouldn't is basically very close to condemned. But I went looking for him for a one bedroom apartment or a studio. Um he I could not find a studio. I could find a studio that was like a student's studio apartment for the University of Utah for like 900 or so dollars. And that was the cheapest I could find.
Wow.
Most one bedrooms wanted 1,300, and I paid less when I lived down in California from 2010 to about 2014.
And California is like on the high end. I mean, at least when you get down to like San Diego, San Francisco, and stuff, it gets pretty crazy. Like when I used to drive rideshare, we had a lot of people from California that would fly in, and they would take rideshare and stuff, and they'd let us know. They're like, yeah, I'm in what do they say, a single level studio with like four other guys, and we're all paying like $3,000 a piece. I was like, damn. I was like, well, you guys all have like your own corner, pretty much. And he's like, yeah, it's pretty much. I was like, damn, that's insane. It's like $3,000, at least in Georgia, for a month. I mean, that could get you, a 2-level apartment with like a car garage, 2-car garage if you could. So, I mean, it really just depends on where you're at. And that's why a lot of people, they come from Florida and from Texas and also from New York, because it's affordable, at least in terms of like what their scale is. So,
Yeah. I mean, if you could actually drop $3,000 a month here, that's easily buying a house, and
mhm.
depending on what you're looking for. and finances, credit score, that could be completely reasonable if you could drop that
Yeah.
here.
But you get what you pay for in terms of location. I mean, what are the things to do out in Utah that you don't really get in like the major cities like New York and San Diego and Los Angeles. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, for, just for like California, there is a tourism factor, but it's not in Salt Lake City. You need to go to no, not Tooele. Where is it? I forget. Yeah, it's St. George. That's it. If
mhm.
you want to do the outdoor recreational stuff, you actually need to go to St. George for like all the vehicle recreational stuff, or you could head north where the Wyoming border is, and there's actually a lot of interesting places. But most of Utah's tourism is more of like the nature scene where you can go to like Zion's National Park,
Gotcha. Yeah.
or if you feel like driving, Yellowstone's not too far off if you're willing to drive for about two, three. No, it's more like 400. But Yellowstone isn't that far off, and there isn't really an airport in Wyoming that can land large planes.
Gotcha.
And and there is also a lot of air traffic out of Salt Lake International Airport
hmm
because Utah is actually one of the major hubs outside of LAX. But Idaho, Wyoming don't really have major airports if memory serves.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, that's I guess why they call them flyover states, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's continue. I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic and let's keep going.
Yep.
Already slapped them with that lesson. The guy who tried to take Trump out was a Republican too. Meanwhile, let's be clear. Black people are not risking 25 to life just to take out some racist conservative. It's not happening. We've been surviving racism forever. We're used to it. I mean, we come from the Call of Duty lobbies.
Fucking nigger you are with your fucking sniper rifle. You fucking nigger, Alex. You fucking nigger, bitch.
Ain't nobody worried about a translucent.
That brings back some fond memories, man. Call of Duty. Those lobbies, man. They just people wouldn't last today, man. Not with the snowflake culture that's out right now, dude.
No.
They're like, ban this
No,
guy.
I
He's
remember-
saying mean things.
I mean, the Halo lobbies could get just as bad.
Oh yeah. Before Call of Duty, there was Halo, and yeah, it was just as bad, man. I mean, still. I think I've said this before on past live streams. It was totally worth it to pay $60 a year just to talk trash online. That was the main draw for me, at least. I had a lot of fun doing that.
I mean, it also kind of depend. I mean, were you actually jaw jacking with someone who could actually quit back, or were you dealing with that screaming 13 or 14-year-old?
Oh no. The squeakers I would mute automatically, but when it came to like, it was usually people because I was in my 30s or maybe like late 20s, like 30s range or whatever. And that's when I was playing a lot of Call of Duty. So I would get in rooms, and this is before they randomized the room that you were in. If you didn't, if you stayed in that lobby, you stayed with that same group of people, and it was great back then. But yeah, I mean, you would just have to see. You'd have to you talk trash in the lobby, then you win the game or they win the game, and then it's just like it's like if you make them leave, then you won the meta game. That was just what it was all about, man. It was about like Cabos right now. He's like, Halo was my favorite. Halo 3, dude, it was all about teabagging, man. If you were teabagging people, it's like people would get freaking angry, dude. And it was the best, and they would be sending you private Xbox messages and stuff. Be like, hey, mother, just like crashing out on in their mom's basement. And yeah, man, that was the best, bro. Good times, man.
Yeah, I can remember that.
Good times, man.
I think I can remember one time. I think my brother was playing online and he was doing Halo 2, and there was this person who would not stop talking on my brother because my brother, if he had wanted to, he couldn't have gone pro but he was good enough that he drove some people crazy.
He was MLG, huh?
Let me put it to you this way. I can play Halo on hard if I want to. Legendary for him was actually putting effort in.
I mean, it was. I mean, the first Halo on Legendary, yeah, that was like that was the way to play it, in my opinion. And then Halo 2, when that came out, I mean, we were always online. And then when Halo 3 came out, that's when we started doing the LAN parties. Me and my sister, we had like a couple of friends. Actually, no, we had like 16 player Halo at one point. So we had, people bring over their Xboxes, we linked them all together, and we did like a $5 buy-in. And I think we did this like a couple times. We had like a couple tournaments, and yeah, man, it was some good fun. But yeah, I mean, just a lot of talking trash to people, and nothing like talking trash to somebody that's actually in the room with you rather than doing it online. But yeah, I mean, that was I remember Halo 1, we did do a tournament for that, and yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. Didn't win, but had a lot of fun. That's what it was all about.
Oh yeah. I mean, most people nowadays can't stand the healthy trash talk. It's like do better. It's not, but it's not in the way of nice.
Right. They're like, gosh, that guy's only a kid, right? I'm like, I know. I told him to get his mom on the mic so I can curse her out too. I used to remember everything, like in terms of just these little squeakers that would come online and be like, hi, teabagged you. I'm like, well, it's fine. Yeah, I fucked your mom,
I think it's actually because people have started making memes about that where the guy actually does do that.
I saw that one actually. The guy comes up, he's like, hey, you remember me? He like says the guys. He says his gamer tag and everything. Like, yeah, remember when I said I was gonna bang your mom? Yeah, it's a great video, man. I was like, God damn it, dude. That's like the ultimate dream, man. It's like, look, I made this shit a reality, man. See,
Oh yeah.
now I'm your stepdad. How does that make you feel? It's good stuff, man. Oh,
yeah.
that was the golden age of gaming, though, dude. It's never gonna be that great again.
No.
That's it.
I know. That's actually the sad part is that all of this sensitivity is robbing us of us actually being competitive in a way. It's sad.
Yeah, everybody's too soft, man. It's like, damn. It's like, I don't know. I want to bring up because I have a boy and a girl. I want to bring up both my kids to be able to like take like criticism, but also, in a playful way, be able to like, joke around and not melt down, Because like even my wife, sometimes she tells me, she's like, you're a little, you're a little hard on the kids sometimes, And I was like, I was just talking. I wasn't abusing them, But I guess to like outside eyes and ears, whatever, they're just like, maybe that was a little too harsh. I mean, but I don't know. The way I look at it, I'm like, look, it starts in the house.
Yeah.
It starts in the house. If you can. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I was just about to say I'm working on that with my oldest. He has a thick skin outside of the home, but when it's in the home, he does get upset.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to get his thin thicker. Then the next one, he has autism and he's pretty high functioning.
Mhm.
So, he's kind of touch and go, and he will lash out.
Sure.
And my youngest son, he just loves to rip, and I've even had to tell him a couple times that it's fine that you can rip, bud, but you got to know when to stop. 'Cause when you just get to me, it's not okay.
Yeah.
And my daughter, she she doesn't really have that mean streak in her, but I think she'll develop it.
Sure. Is she the only girl out of the kids?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Out of my 4, she's the only daughter that I have.
Yeah. So growing around a bunch of boys, she'll toughen up, man. And I mean, that's just,
Oh, yeah.
that's just what's going to happen. But because I, that's kind of like the childhood I had. I had my older sister, and it was just a bunch of boys, and she was like the tough one, you know? So, yeah. But no, that's the thing. Like me, my younger brother, older sister, and I had two older half brothers and stuff, man. We were all like 3 years apart, man. So, like, we all developed a tough skin because we all, yeah, 3 years apart just from each other. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, we were able to, we had a lot of fun, a lot of laughter, you know, and a lot of just, you know, snapping on each other. And by the time we got to school, man, we were just like, nobody could say anything to us. I was the kind of person, like, if you like try to do like a dig at me or something, my brain would automatically be like, dude, I could have thought of something so much better. You should have said this and that would have been better, you know, or something, you know. But like, I just don't get offended. And even to this day, now that, you know, I'm an adult and stuff, like, I don't get people like trying to come at me. But when people do, it's like, okay, great. This is like a little dormant side of me that I don't really get to use too much, but I love it, you know, like, because I really didn't get picked on when I was a kid. But when people like try to come at me and try to like say anything, like, you know, like, I don't know, just whatever criticisms they have, it's like, I accept it. I can listen to it, and it's like, I don't get offended. It's really hard to get offended by me, you know, or for me to get offended. So, but yeah, the skin is tough, man. And, you know, I think, it's our job as parents to toughen up our kids, because we got to prepare them for the world, man.
Yeah, sadly, that's something that Gen Zers didn't do for their kids. Because me and my brother, we fall under the oldest part of the oldest millennials.
Oh, okay.
But there were, because I don't know if it was Gen Zers or the boomers, but there were those who really coddled their kids. And you know, this is where we get that affluenza team stuff from. Oh, his family has so much money, he doesn't understand what he did was wrong. No, the parents failed to enforce boundaries and say, here, this is the line in the sand, you don't cross it. You cross it, you are in deep doo-doo.
Well, I had friends like that too, man. I had the friends that were like, they would have like the timeout, you know, or like their parents would like take away like a device and stuff like that, or you know, set some restrictions on, I don't know, an allowance or whatever. And these are the same kind of kids that would like talk back to their parents, you know, shout at their moms and stuff. And then you got my childhood where like I had an Asian mom and like a black dad. So like, at least the Asian moms, like, I don't know if you know about like Asian moms, whatever, but they're like super fucking strict, super strict, dude. Like, you can't even think a bad thought. And, you know, like, I got whoopings, you know, I got publicly embarrassed, you know, like, Asian moms don't care about that kind of thing, you know. If you messed up, and they're going to correct you right then and there. There's no like, okay, I'm going to handle this when we get home. No, they will publicly embarrass you. And that's pretty much like the best lesson. You know, you're like, I'm just not going to do that again. That was annoying, you know? So, I mean, yeah. Just to scratch the surface, I'm sorry. Yeah. My mom has cut my sister's hair in anger. My mom has kicked my younger brother, down the stairs, and she's thrown a light bulb at me. So, I mean, that's just a little taste of my mom. And my dad, he was the chill one. You know, he was kind of like, you know, good cop, bad cop kind of thing. You know, he was the good cop. So, I think I took a lot of lessons from my father in terms of like patience and, you know, just being kind. You know, my dad was a very patient, very kind man, but at the same time, he could be very stern at the same time too, you know? And, you know, we were afraid of my dad. We didn't want to disappoint my dad because, you know, we knew that we had a lot to deal with on my mom's side. So we just knew that we didn't want to have, you know, our dad come down on us so that we have to deal with, you know, both of them, you know? So.
Yeah, my kids still treat me like I'm lackadaisical, but they don't like it when I actually get into Marine mode. They really don't like that.
Same with my kids, dude. They know that I don't play. They can get away with a lot of stuff with mom, you know, because mom is kind of like, you know, she is strict, but at the same time she can, you know, she will kind of let them off easy. And I'm not the one to really let anybody off easy. If they make a mistake, and like, we're not taking away your phone for an hour, we're taking it away for the whole weekend, you know, like you're gonna feel it. You know, you are going to you know, conversate and actually be present in the room. You're not going to just be zoned out on your phone. Like, that's the biggest thing right now, dude, is taking away devices. It's not about sending kids to their room, it's about taking away the devices, you know.
Yeah.
Because
I actually lock out devices and then I take them away on top of that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, it's just I noticed that, at least with, you know, my daughter, because she's, you know, she's 8 now, so she's always walking around with her phone and stuff. And I told her, I was like, look, if we're gonna go to the car, I don't want you to bring your phone. She's like, why not? She's like, I'm gonna get bored. I'm like, well, you're gonna have all 3 of us in the car, so you can talk, we can have a conversation. You know, you can look out the window. You know, it's like, come on now. It's like,
Yeah.
life isn't over once you take your phone away. Come on now, you can still interact with people. That's one thing I'm trying to just teach them, is like, look, you know, I want you to be able to have a conversation and not be like one of these zombie kids that just melt down once the phone's taken away. They don't know how to live their life. I'm just like, no, dude, you're better than
I
that.
know what you mean. I mean, with my kids, sometimes when we're in the car, we play Blizzard Battle just to, you know, just keep, you know, just to play and keep the conversation going.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean, I play games with the kids all the time too. Just, you know, visual games, you know, so just to keep them engaged, you know.
Yeah.
But
All right, let's continue with the video and see how things progress.
let's go.
And being racist, but now they want the whole country to sob over Charlie Kirk. They are policing grief, dragging anyone who didn't cry loud enough. Even Kai Cenat, who literally just shrugged and moved on. They even dragged him.
That's the guy with like the crazy ass takes, right? Or some shit. He be saying some crazy. He be saying some crazy shit, right? Holy shit! Don't watch, okay, man. Shit. All right, chat.
You just saw Kai Cenat's response immediately. He found out. It was like, yo, he had crazy takes.
50 IQ. 50 IQ response, bro.
I don't think Kai knows. I think Kai's a good guy, but like, he didn't even know his takes. He just knows that he's crazy. He knows the opinion on TikTok is negative, and that was his immediate reaction. It shows the average person.
Bro, they never know, bro.
Seriously? Yeah, that was crazy. I even saw what Kai said. That was whack too, bro.
Where was the same energy at with Oscar Grant, Stephon Clark, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, Michael Brown, Sonia Massey? I mean, Charlie Kirk literally spit on Martin Luther King's legacy every chance he got.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. View that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true.
You've described Martin Luther King Jr. as awful.
There is a mythology around MLK that does not warrant the reverence that he gets treated with in America.
We're a truth-seeking show, but I can say declaratively, this guy is not worthy of a national house.
What is correct?
Well, a lot of people tend to view Martin Luther King Jr. As a mythological figure, not who he was. I mean, the man was a pastor, for Pete's sake. I mean, there was a reason why he could stand and make those speeches.
Mm-hmm.
He was a trained pastor, and if memory serves, he even went to college for it too.
I mean, I've heard the news about him like being, you know, cheating on his wife and stuff, having mistresses and everything like that. So I mean, of course he was fallible just like any other man. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like his impact, you know, that's what people tend to focus on the most, you know. But
and you know, the thing that they are really glossing over is that as a pastor, as a man of God, and also as a civil rights leader, you know, he didn't do what a lot of black people do nowadays. He actually stood up at the podium and spoke. He didn't do any of the BLM stuff or anything like that. He actually stood on his principles at the very least when he was out speaking, and when he was doing his when he was doing his events, he actually stood on those principles. I mean, most people don't know this, but his family has a very strict monopoly on all of his speeches.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have an incredibly strict monopoly on his speeches. I mean,
what does that mean
you know,
exactly? Does that mean like, what does that mean exactly? I'm not sure.
Basically, his family, they pick and choose if any quote of his from any of his speeches are allowed to be used by any sort of like news network, radio.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Gotcha.
just to play the "I Have a Dream" speech, if memory serves, there was a news station, there was a national news station that played at least half of it, and his family collected like 2 million from the
wow.
letting them the family letting the news net station use that.
Interesting.
Yeah, his family in a way has copyrighted a lot of his speeches, and the thing that's really disheartening is that the spirit that Martin Luther King Jr. put out there, it's completely twisted nowadays.
Kind of like he's like a savior figure, kind of, when really he was just a man.
No.
What do you mean?
I mean, basically, did he preach violence? No, he preached peace. And what are a lot of black people doing? Violence. He preached peace. And, he preached about racial unity. And, stop judging me on the color of my skin and on the contents of my character. That was his primary message.
And I believe Malcolm X was the one that I think that was kind of going against that and kind of going the other way with it, right? He was more about standing up for yourself and maybe even doing a little bit of violence.
I don't remember if it was Malcolm X specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I know he was one of those voices pushing for violence.
Mm-hmm.
But there were also others who the FBI ended up arresting because they were all part of the Black Panther Party.
Right. I do remember that. I remember watching a couple documentaries on Malcolm X and also the movie, from a long time ago. And from what I understand, Malcolm X was just as prominent of a figure as Martin Luther King. And, I think a lot more people, sided with his sentiment in terms of, not being, treaded on, and not being pushed over or whatever, and really kind of fighting for your right. And whereas, Martin Luther, he did have his a little bit more of a, I guess you can say, more of a peaceful integration that he was pushing for, more of an equality kind of ideal. And whereas I think Malcolm X, he was more of like, he's like, no, we can take this by force. We don't have to, we have the numbers, we don't have to deal and be like second rate citizens and stuff. We can take what we want.
Yeah, if memory serves, that was Malcolm X. And, Martin Luther King was also he also studied a lot of Gandhi too, if memory serves.
That kind of tracks, Gandhi was all about nonviolence. And I mean, look how people, nobody has anything bad to say about Gandhi. I can't think of anything bad what people would say about Gandhi, but I guess what it comes down to is like, the legacy that you lead, because Martin Luther King was assassinated. Malcolm X was assassinated, and people have very different views about both of these men, Yeah. So
if memory serves, Malcolm X was actually assassinated by a black man.
I heard it. I thought it was a Nation of Islam, I believe, wasn't it? Because I think it was something about like them coming after him. I don't really remember all the details and stuff, but I thought it was like that's what the rumor was, that it was the Nation of Islam that took him out. But
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Because when Gandhi got assassinated, it was by because Gandhi was a Hindu, and he was actually assassinated by people who were also Hindu but couldn't stand the fact that he was pushing for peace instead of conflict. And if memory serves, Malcolm X was assassinated by a black man who actually wanted his throne. I could be misremembering that, but I remember watching when the History Channel actually did real documentaries instead of what they do nowadays. I remember them doing one about him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like whatever they teach in schools, public schools at least, about, these guys, is that they always focus on the positives, the whole, what's it called? The standing in, the sit-ins, whatever. And then, the bus protests and Rosa Parks and, and then the I Have a Dream speech and the Million Man March, all that stuff. They don't really, I don't know. It just seems like, I think even that I saw something recently. It was Trump is basically trying to like take that out of the curriculum, the whole 400 years, of slavery and all that stuff. Like, just don't teach about it anymore. And, of course, people are up in arms about that. They're like, well, we shouldn't take that out to where people don't learn it. But then the argument is that, well, we are just perpetuating the whole mindset that black people basically are owed something from white people because of what they went through. Whereas, like, no, that was something horrible that happened a long time ago, and none of these white people that you see today are responsible, and they don't owe you anything. And you live in pretty much the best time ever in this country to get ahead in life. And it's really it's up to you. It's not up to the color of your skin. Everybody has an equal shot.
Yeah.
So
sadly, history's been so twisted on the slave trade for America. Not to mention the whole roots mentality that, it's basic that, that if you really want the history of the slave trade in the United States, it's actually, you actually have to go read, let me think, at least 3 history books on the subject, 2 that were written by Thomas Sowell. Then you actually have to go and read about the Southern economics as to why they kept pushing for it. And it was, I mean, the information it's there, but what you actually read is really disturbing.
Of course.
Just as an example, the first Africans that actually came to the United States, they weren't slaves. They were indentured servants. And that's how about like almost 90% of the people who actually came from England, France, and other places outside of the explorers who actually came. Most people who came here were indentured servants. It's not talked about in the history books at all. But, what you did is you basically went to a company that did the shipping or whichever it was. They pay for you to come over here, and then you'd work in the boat yards or in the fields or whatever was necessary, and you'd do that for 5 or 10 years, and then you were just free to go.
See, I do remember learning about indentured servants, but it just seems like it was outweighed by the slave trade. Like it just seems like that it was just out. Like that's just seemed that everybody seemed to focus on. At least at least when I was growing up in school, that's what was really pushed.
Yes, that's actually part of the problem. Was that for indentured servitude, color of skin did not matter. I mean, like, if memory serves, out of everybody who was coming over, almost 90% of everybody who came over was an indentured servant. It was only those who could actually had the money to pay for it. They didn't come across as indentured servants, but a lot of people did. It was the only way you could get a charter on a ship and come over. I mean, most people forget that Georgia was started as a debtor, was actually started as a debtor's prison. And who were most of the debtors? Indentured servants who had tried to run off on the debt.
Interesting. Yeah, man, that's the thing. It's like history is really only written and interpreted by people who were victors, you know, that basically won the wars and the battles and stuff. That's who the history is written for. So people can interpret it however they want.
Well, history is written by the victors.
Yes.
That will always be true. But the thing is that it's actually been twisted. Because, you know, like I said, indentured servants was the best way to get over here unless you actually had something. I mean, there were a couple of cases where people were doctors for their time, and in some cases, some companies would be like, hey, if you come over and be the doctor for the village, the town, whatever, you know, we'll just let you go over there and set up shop. But it was very few and far between. You had to either pay or be an indentured servant. There was no way through that. And, you know, that's the reason why anyone who knows enough history sits there and says that, you know, the slave trade, you know, slavery was bad, and it is bad, but you're really blowing out of proportion, you know, just how many people were slaves in comparison to the people who were just indentured servants. And
also in history, there are a lot of different people besides black people have been slaves. A lot of groups of people have been slaves, and then slavery is still going on today. So it's like it just seems like you know, I'm not trying to minimize it by any means, but what I will say is that, you know, there has always been slaves and slave masters, you know, and you know, even the thing that happened with you know, the Japanese and stuff getting rounded up and stuff, like people will like point to that and say, you know, that was something that, you know, they got reparations and stuff, so why don't black people get reparations for what they went through? And it's like, you know, you look at that type of situation, yeah, I mean, it was horrible, but it's not like we're not trying to do like a kind of like a trauma Olympics, you know, like to try to compare the two, because it was completely different. You know, like they were at war with Japan and stuff. So like that whole thought process of just rounding up all Japanese Americans and stuff and put them in, you know, internment camps and all that stuff, like that was during that time when they were at war with Japan.
Yeah.
You know?
And as for reparations, I don't remember if it was Lincoln or Ulysses Grant. I don't remember which one it was, but one of them did actually authorize reparations for slaves from Southern families.
I was gonna say
Jim Crow had a really big problem with that. And, you know, I mean, this is part of the reason why after Lincoln's assassination and Ulysses Grant, well, no, Lincoln was assassinated, his vice president became president, then 2 years later, Grant was elected, and Grant basically had to send the U.S. Army down to Florida and other places, you know, just to make sure that the local white people didn't really start you know, tarring and feathering people, especially when it came to freed slaves.
Well, I know. I think it was Andrew Jackson. That
no.
What was it? Who was
Andrew
that?
Jackson. I'm trying to think. It wasn't Jackson.
Andrew Jackson.
Memory serves, Andrew Jackson was our third or fourth president.
Who am I thinking of? The guy that came in after, hold on. The person that came in after, what's his face? After Lincoln?
It would have been his vice president.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Lincoln's successor, so vice president was Andrew something, right? Andrew Johnson. There it is. Andrew Johnson. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, if memory serves, Andrew Johnson was finished out what was left of Lincoln's term, and then Grant became president.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, from what I understand, they weren't looked upon nicely in terms of like, because I remember after the Emancipation Proclamation from Lincoln, there was kind of a walk back a little bit from the vice president after he was assassinated, from what I understand. And
if memory serves, Andrew Johnson was very, he wasn't pro-slavery, but he didn't want to divide the Union. And Lincoln said, if we don't push this, then the Union will fall apart.
Right. Yeah. That's I mean, it goes to show you, man. It's like, you can be a man of certain ideals, whatever, but once you're dead, it's like people can basically come in and undo all of the work that you've done. And, going back to the whole Charlie Kirk situation, people are saying that they are kind of like, people are, I guess, rewriting history about Charlie Kirk, the people that are, I guess, in favor of, his message and stuff, that, no, he didn't say any of this bad stuff, whatever. And then people are like, no, there are clips of him saying this, and that's really what we're going through right now, is that, he did have a specific type of message and thought process, and it's not always as flattering, does anybody deserve to be killed over their ideas and stuff? It's like, no, he wasn't going out and saying, yeah, we need to round up these people. No, he wasn't saying any of that, so that's kind of like where I stand on the whole issue with like Charlie Kirk. Like, you can have these ideas and stuff like that, and you don't have to be outspoken and sad or just like outspoken and like happy about it. At the end of the day, it's still a human life, and whether he touched your life or not, or affected your life or not, or if you even knew about him, it's horrible what happened, and this is from a human level. That's where at least where I look at it, because I'm not the type of person to have like a strong stance when it comes to like Republicans or Democrats or conservatives or liberals and stuff like that. It's like everybody can kind of coexist and do whatever they want to do. I don't care, as long as you don't try to change me with your ideology, because I'm not gonna try to change you either. Like, you can believe whatever you want to believe, practice whatever religion you want to believe, but as long as you don't impose your will on me, I think we're fine. So you can have these views, you can have these, that's fine.
Yeah, I agree with the same sentiment, but my thing is that people keep twisting Martin Luther King's vision, and I don't like it. But if I were to start openly speaking out about it in real life, I would just get the eye rolls.
True. Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about the messenger and who's saying it, because it's like, I don't think a black person would get the same amount of scrutiny if they were saying something about MLK as a white person saying something about MLK, because it's always going to be like, people's minds are just going to always go to like, oh, well, this is obviously a racist, like saying this stuff. If they don't like, if they have this opinion, it's like their minds are so quick to make up their minds about people and not hear them out, because you could have amazing arguments or amazing views and stuff that if someone just took the time to listen, they'd be like, you know what, you kind of have a point there. This isn't just an emotional argument that you have. It's like you're just going off of facts. And I think that's people, they would much rather be sensationalized than actually listen to the facts,
Well, sadly, that's the truth. So I mean, PragerU did a video about Ty Cobb, and when the person who actually went and researched Ty Cobb and found that almost everything about that the public believed about Ty Cobb was basically printed by a reporter who wanted to sensationalize his career. So he picked a famous baseball player and just wrote foul and scathing stuff. And it got so bad that Ty Cobb actually had to threaten to sue him to get him to stop writing the lies. But by then it was so sensationalized, it didn't matter. He was still vilified.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know too much about Ty Cobb. I mean, I've heard of him as a baseball player and stuff, but I didn't know any of the controversy surrounding him. I didn't know anything about that.
Well, PragerU produces a lot of different stuff, and they do a decent job, but it's just to say that people's ideals get twisted. I mean, they're portraying that Charlie Kirk was racist and didn't like MLK, but I think considering Charlie's conservative values, almost anyone who knows enough about Martin Luther King and is conservative actually respects the fact that he was a pastor, and he also had a PhD in theological studies, if memory serves.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense of trying to at least for him to take a little bit more of the peaceful route, and not really trying to divide people, but wanting to come together. It kind of makes sense, if that was like his background and stuff, especially with being a pastor and stuff, just wanting to not divide the nation and just kind of unify, But Exo Charles, welcome to the stream, sir. Hello, everyone. Yeah, you made it, man. Right at 2 a.m. Right at 2 a.m. I do want to get back into this video, so because we're only like 3 minutes in, and we've really we're making horrible time right now, but it's okay because this is kind of the back and forth that I was looking for. I was hoping I was going to get from Mr. Villatube, if you're still out there, if you're listening. The chat is open. You're more than welcome to let us know that you're here. And if you want to present your receipts, you still have the opportunity. We still have about 1 more hour. So let's jump back into this video. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic now, and let's keep it going, sir.
Let's roll.
Holiday. He is not worthy of godlike status. In fact, I think it's really harmful.
He said Martin Luther King didn't deserve a holiday, but now all of a sudden we're supposed to roll out the violins for him. It's like they always demand black people to be the better person. Smile like Obama, preach like MLK, forgive like it's our full-time job. But when it's their turn, they collapse. They demand sympathy they never once gave. And the gaslighting is wild. Actually, no, it's cringe. They're cringe as fuck. Trying to guilt black people or anybody into feeling bad for not caring is insane. Everybody's out here shaming folks like we're supposed to mourn a man who disrespected communities nonstop, baited people just to tear them down, and made a career out of it. Why would anyone feel bad for that? That's weird. That's weird as fuck. And with the people making fun of him or celebrating his death, yeah, of course it's wrong. It's wrong to make fun of anybody's death. You shouldn't disrespect the dead. But could we not act brand new? Social media is desensitized, and the other side does the exact same thing when it comes to us. Death gets mocked across the board, so don't suddenly draw the line here. Y'all want to draw the line when it comes to this guy all of a sudden. And man, Black Twitter been trolling the fuck out of the situation.
Everybody catching bullet holes. Niggas got me on my bully, yo. Fuck your homie with his dead ass.
Bro, AI has gotten out of control, dude. Like, you can do anything now. It is wild. Like, I saw I know you probably saw this, but the video of Donald Trump skateboarding in the White House, like doing like all types of skateboarding tricks. Have you seen that?
I heard about it.
Yeah.
I was just like,
it's just wild. The AI has gotten really good, but I mean, this is not as good quality. I mean, of course, it is what it is, but the AI now that they have, it's gotten so much better where like you can, it's like if you're not looking for it, and if they don't have like a little watermark in the corner, you know, saying that it's AI, it's kind of convincing now. You know, like they just need to have a couple scripts of like what you said, and they can make a whole dialogue out of it. You know, they got your whole voice intonation, and then they can just match your face from, you know, different videos and stuff, and they just put it all together, you know, put it on a 3D model, and then they can get you, you know, dancing around, shooting people, you know, flipping the bird if they want. You know, it's insane. So it's like, oh yeah, what is real these days? You know, people are starting to look at the whole Charlie Kirk assassination as like, dude, I think that was AI. You know, like people are like, they're saying that there was a guy that was standing behind him. They said he looks like the makeup artist that had a video showing how, you know, you can do like these little tubes of like blood, and they hooked it up to the neck, and it's basically like a false neck, basically. And the people that were signing behind him, there was also a guy that was like up front in the audience, whatever. They basically, they're saying like, yeah, it was all like planned, you know? And I'm just like, this is where you start getting to like Kookyville, okay? Because people, you know, it happens with every like major event. You know, the people start coming out with the theories, and like, you know, no, did you see the people that were signing? It was like he knew he was about to get shot, you know, or like all of this stuff was planned. And then they even got it all the way down to like the news outlets. They're like, if you timestamp the first news outlet to break the whole scoop on Charlie Kirk being assassinated, they're like, it was like the Jerusalem News or something, you know. And they're like, dude, it's all fucking connected. And it's like, well, you may be reaching, you know, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want to say that you're wrong, because I mean, you might be onto something, you know. But who am I to like put on my tinfoil hat and get in the hole with you and just go see how deep it really goes, you know? It's like,
yeah, the problem with throwing up the tinfoil hat is that you can get lost in a giant spider web and never get out. You got to be careful with that.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I was a conspiracy theorist when, you know, Bush was in office. Bush Jr. was in office, and you know, all of that conspiracy theories and stuff about, you know, the planes crashing, and then, you know, all that stuff, like all of that. I was knee deep in all of it, you know, and I mean, even until like, I guess until like the last couple of years or whatever, it's like I just didn't really want to. It became like a fatigue for me, because I was just like, you know what? When it comes down to it, the government will never investigate themselves. What they're gonna do, they're gonna put out an official document, you know, so they can say that they've addressed it, and any type of discussion around it will be, you know, just. It will be like either silenced or demonetized or, you know, fact checked, you know, to be false. So it's like, and also, you know, if someone was to do their own research, it will always lead to like movies or something, you know. It's like I think whenever someone comes up with like, hey, the whole thing about like 9/11, whatever, you look up 9/11 now, there's like all these films that came out about it, you know, not the what's it called, the documentaries about it, but like the actual like Hollywood movies will come out, you know, like with their spin about it. And yeah, that stuff buries all of the other videos, like the videos that you see of like the people that were there actually on the ground when it happened. They're like, you can't find those videos anymore. They've been buried, you know, or stricken from the record and stuff. And they're like, yeah, if you want to know what happened, man, just buy the book, buy the commission report. It's like, damn. It's wild.
Although the thing that was actually ironic about George W. Bush's presidency is that he did lie when he didn't have to.
Well, I just chalk that up to him thinking on his feet. You know, not everybody's good at thinking on their feet. You know, so I think that's probably what that was. He was just, you know, let a couple things slip.
I mean, there was probably a little bit of that, but technically speaking, he didn't have to lie about Saddam Hussein having WMDs, because the thing that was actually ironic was that he actually did, but he couldn't get to them and to deploy them properly, to be honest.
Well, I do remember Dick Cheney being, I think, one of the heads of Halliburton and stuff, and all of that destruction that was going on in the Middle East. Halliburton was coming in and kind of taking all of the. Well, no, I'm sorry, not in the Middle East, but I do remember Halliburton was part of the reconstruction effort in New York with all of that steel that was, accumulated from the debris and stuff. And a lot of that steel was shipped out to China, kind of as like, I don't know, some form of payment maybe, because our money, I guess, wasn't as valuable as like raw materials. And, so, I mean, they got a little bit of a kickback from all of that. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to turn this into a 9/11 discussion because I know how, contentious that can be and how unsafe that is for YouTube. But what I will say is that, the government will never investigate themselves. I'll just kind of leave it at that. And this whole conspiracy
that's
that
a very fundamental, sad truth.
The whole conspiracy surrounding Charlie Kirk and who was really responsible behind it. It's like, well, it could have been that this guy was a lone gunman, whatever, that didn't have anybody that was backing him, or he could have been the fall guy, but it's, we
never really know.
We will never know. Exactly. That's literally what I'm getting at. That's what I was driving at, is that nobody will ever really know. The FBI will present us with text messages of like what he said afterward. Apparently the guy went to a Dairy Queen afterward, and he was like on videotape, like wearing the same clothes and everything like that. And I think it was Candace Owens actually that presented that information. And so yeah, they're like slowly trickling all this stuff out now to kind of, I guess, like cover their tracks and stuff about it. But it's like, man, it's all kind of like a smokescreen. It's like, hey, if you want to know about it, let's present you with this, and then kind of like, I don't know. Some people were saying that, yeah, the whole assassination attempt was to drive everybody away from the Epstein list that they were trying to like uncover. They're like, let's kill a story with another story, And unfortunately, Charlie Kirk was part of that. So let's continue.
Yep.
Fuck a cougar like she Holly Berry. Future Hendrix, Dirty Sprite, legendary.
I got the strap. Hey. I gotta carry him.
I mean, damn. I'm even offended.
But they have much cap going on right now. I'm the villain.
I don't care. I really don't give a fuck.
Now look how I can't look. I don't care. This is such bullshit. I've never been so pissed in my whole life. I just murdered Charlie Kirk right here in Utah. I'm so freaking pissed right now. This is bullshit. I just saw blood squirting out of his neck. I love that guy. He would have been our next president. I am so pissed right now. Why do they always come with fucking violence? Gosh damn it! Use your freaking words as they're talking to you people! Who shot Charlie Kirk? I'm driving down a Provo right now! I'm so pissed! Damn it!
Yeah, but you literally have idiots, demented fucking demon ass bitches out here supporting the shit, dog. So y'all die on that sword, bro. Y'all keep barking that shit. Y'all keep talking that shit. Y'all are giving the other side a reason. Y'all gonna fuck around and find out. Now you gave motherfuckers the ultimate reason to pop off because you took out the ultimate right-winger, bro. You took out the top of the fucking food chain. The only thing higher than that is fucking Trump. You missed out on that motherfucker. And this shit's worse because you actually took Kirk out. So what that means is that there's no talking. There's no talking. Y'all keep that fucking energy, bro. No.
You motherfucking animals! You liberal, progressive, deranged fucking animals! You are so hateful in your hearts to go out and shoot a young man who's never hurted anyone with Christian values, a young, beautiful family, a father, a husband, a friend, a son. You shot him! Why? Because you didn't agree with his politics? Because you didn't agree with his ideology? That's the reason why he deserves to die! You fucking animal! You fucking animals! You animals!
Man, all that crying, yelling, pointing fingers, doing the whole blame game marathon for it to end up being white on white crime. Right versus right. In-house. Y'all gotta hold that L. Hug it, sleep with it. Don't try to deflect. But all I see on my timeline is y'all doing Olympic level deflections. And it's low-key hilarious. I'm just trying to figure out how everybody has all this hate in their chest for people that literally had not a damn thing to do with it. Nothing, zero. They just mad to be mad. They using it as a crutch. So then,
to be fair, there was a lot of confusion around the person who was responsible, in the beginning. They caught that old guy that was like 70 years old, was apparently trans, had like the pregnant belly and everything like that, so immediately people were like jumping on the bus that the trans community, the leftist community, whatever, were responsible. And then they count like 3 more people and it wasn't right. And then they finally came up with this guy here, the Thomas guy. So it's like they wanted, and I remember one of the guys that was leading the whole investigation, he said after they caught the Thomas guy, he was like, I kind of wish it was like somebody foreign, I kind of wish it was somebody that, we could really focus on and not be one of our own. And I was like, dude, it's like, it sucks that it was a white guy, but at the same time, it's like you shouldn't be saying that. I wish it was somebody foreign. I wish it was somebody that wasn't white, it's like, I don't know. I don't know what you think about that. I thought it was a little weird thing to say, like maybe he shouldn't have said that. But
it's really it's really morose when you think about it. It's we want it to be the foreigner to push our agenda,
Yeah, like we can invade a Middle Eastern country if it was a Muslim or something, or we can I guess, I don't know, go into the black community and put all of our knees on their necks and stuff like that if it was a black person. But it was, it's like that wasn't the case. So now it's like, they have to just kind of make it out. I don't know. It's like they don't really have a plan, like what they're gonna do. It's like it's like they can't go to war basically with this.
Well, politics always look for that opportunity, and it's never not uncommon for politicians to use a tragedy to push an agenda. The day that actually doesn't happen will be a very strange day, sadly. But, to the fact that it's like, we were hoping it wasn't this, there was so much panic and chaos that, at this stage, they're lucky to even have a suspect, or at least say that this guy did it.
Right.
I mean, he made a 200-yard shot, and that's not hard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, apparently with the scope that he had, it was actually fairly easy from what I've heard, I mean, the guy, he had plenty of experience, growing up with guns and stuff like that. So 200 yards wasn't an issue, but it just seems to me that if you look at like the whole situation at like the way it happened, it's like, people already had like these, I guess people that were followers of Charlie Kirk were listening to him talk about, black crime and how, blacks are like the 13% of the population, but they do like 50+% of the crime, and his whole circle around that was just that we need to get more fathers back into the home, because when you take fathers out of the home, it leads to young boys committing crimes. It leads to degeneracy for women, you know, like girls basically become streetwalkers and hookers and prostitutes and stuff. So it's like, that's what he was using kind of as like the whole, you know, to kind of circle back to be like, yeah, we need to have more families, more fathers in the household, you know? And then, but people, they tend to focus on the percentage of where he was talking about, you know, black people committing crimes. And it's just like, people are like, you know, it's just ironic, you know, that the way that it played out. And then, you know, his last words talking about, you know, gang violence, you know, and then that was it. It just seems to me that, yeah, he had his views, but there are also, you know, universal truths. You know, I guess you can say things about the way people behave, and you know, you don't want to put yourself in certain situations where, like, you know, you are unsafe. You know, you don't want to be a young white woman going down the streets of Harlem at like 3 a.m. You don't want to be in that type of situation because it's unsafe. It's unsafe actually for any woman at that age. It doesn't matter if she's like white or black or Indian or whatever, you know, it's unsafe for women. But what people have said is that, you know, they feel unsafe when they're in predominantly black areas of the country, because there's more. But then the statistics show that the percentage of black on white crime is a lot lesser than white on black crime. And it's even lesser than white on white crime. So
yeah, I mean, the problem with the crime stats is that, from my perspective, you know, it's not that they're not accurate. It's just they take the aggregate instead of, you know, getting to the nitty and going into the weeds with it, if memory serves.
Right.
That's kind of my issue with it, is that they take the aggregate, not like the, you know, the big picture. And I don't really like that.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as it comes to the whole family unit, sadly, it is true that, you know, kids, you know, once kids get to a certain age, you know, they don't think they have to listen to mom because she's mom. However, when they start getting angry and it's like, oh, well, then if you're going to diss me and ignore me, well, then I'm just gonna let you have it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there was an old YouTuber who I think he took down his channel. You know, he says a 13 or 14-year-old boy, you know, he's normally stronger than his mother.
Oh yeah,
and that's true.
Yeah,
and that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But is he stronger than his 30, 40-year-old father? No, he's not.
Hell no.
Yeah. So there is, but, you know, sadly, there is that balance of where, you know, I mean, when my parents divorced, I saw my father maybe 4 days out of the month.
Mm.
And, you know, I see my kids Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And, you know, I actually have a constant influence in their life. You know, it's not, you know, I see my dad, you know, 4 days out of the month. Or, sadly, the big problem with the African American community isn't so much that fathers aren't involved. It's more like he don't know if those kids are actually his. And that's actually a really big problem that they have.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of reports of, you know, a lot of promiscuity where, yeah, they don't know who the father is, and women, they make a lot of mistakes in trapping the wrong guy, you know, and making suckers out of a lot of these guys. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely an issue. But then at the same time, there's an incentivize to basically live off the government welfare, you know, food stamps and stuff like that, as long as you don't have, you know, the man in there with his income. So I mean, yeah, and it's like, yeah, you get 3 or 4 kids, yeah, you're set. You know, you definitely. So
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've seen this, but there was a short video. I don't remember if it was on YouTube or Facebook, but there was this short video of this black woman who had she had 5 kids with 5 different fathers, and part of the caption was, "Why do this?" Well, if I have 5 kids with one dad, I only get 33% of his income, but if I separate this out between 5 different men, I get 20% of each of their incomes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically the kids are a paycheck, pretty much. They're just reduced down to that. They're not individuals. They're just a paycheck, and it's unfortunate, man, because it's like, yeah, that's what these kids have to, and they end up being pawns in the entire situation and leverage against the father, and it's very sad.
Yeah, it's sad, and it's fairly disturbing too when you start thinking about the effects of that on society on the whole.
Sure. Yeah, you wonder if this is like so prevalent now. You just wonder, what is that? What's the ripple effect going to be? Like what kind of adults are the children going to turn into, and are they going to break the cycle, or are they going to continue it?
Well, sadly, the sad truth is more than likely they're going to continue the cycle.
Right.
I mean, if you go back to the 40s and the 50s, I think I remember the stat was right around 85% of black families were intact. And, this is when you start seeing people who would eventually become prominent black figures. I know Bill Crosby's reputation has been tarnished.
Oh, yeah.
But, he was part of that generation from the 40s and 50s where the family was whole.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was actually a fairly prominent African-American actor and comedian for a very long time.
Oh, yeah. I know. I mean, he was America's dad at one point. So, I mean, he was kind of like from the Cosby Show and stuff. I mean, I grew up watching that, and, yeah, I mean, he had a big influence in terms of that, but it sucks that, a lot of that stuff came out, in his later years to really kind of like throw all the rest of that in the garbage, but I don't know, man. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, for me, my problem is that for me, I don't have the Assassin's Creed mentality, but I always go with the objective fact. Is it everything is permitted, nothing is true? No, it's like, no, that's a nice saying, but it doesn't actually work.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think that there was a lot of programming that went on even when we were growing up in terms of like, television shows, showing fathers to be, the bumbling idiot. Yeah, like I was just thinking about it, like the Carl Winslow's and Carl Winslow was kind of like on the same level as like Bill Cosby and stuff, but then like you got like the Al Bundys, and the Homer Simpsons and stuff. Like it made like the wife be more like competent, whereas like the father was more like like the bumbling idiot, and it just kind of reinforced the whole idea that fathers aren't needed. Like they're just going to be another seat at the table, but not really worth being in the household. Like you could take them or leave them. And I don't know, it just kind of added to the whole idea that, families are better apart than together. And I don't need no man, and I can do bad all on my own. I remember my mom uttering those words when I was very young, and she was swept up in it as well. So,
yeah, I mean, I did a whole YouTube video about this, and, I pointed out that, these are not the kind of men you want to, be mentored around. But, the thing that was sad was just how ingrained it became. I mean, I can remember going to SeaWorld back in like 2012 or so. and I was at SeaWorld with my ex, and I think she was pregnant with our first son, and we're sitting in for one of the shows, and the hype guy comes out, and he's got a guitar, he's just kind of summoning along, doing the whole thing, and then he says, "Dear old dad who can't read the map," and I actually started jeering at that because I did pass land nav. I can read a damn map.
Mm-hmm.
And, even though my father has been in the rut he's in for most of his, well, not his adult life, ever since the divorce with my mother, but he never stopped encouraging me and my brother to excel.
Mm-hmm.
And, most people don't even get that.
Yeah.
I mean, just off the top of my head, how many black kids are told, by their own mothers, read that book, boy, it'll save you someday. I mean, that was kind of the greatest irony with Dr. Ben Carson, was that his mother was illiterate, but she made sure her son could read, and she even made sure he read enough. And he became a doctor, for Pete's sake, a medical doctor. And then he segued into politics. But, you don't hear a lot of the people who die on the streets, you don't hear them, encouraging their kids to do better. I mean, supposedly Will Smith, I don't remember if this is true or not, but supposedly Will Smith, when he was in school where he lived, he actually had to hide his textbooks, his homework and stuff in old pizza boxes because his peers used to bully him for wanting white things.
Interesting. Yeah. See, I never looked into Will Smith like that. I do know that, he had a lot of self-esteem issues. And it's kind of weird how you look at the character of Carlton and how, you look at his real life character and stuff, who he is for real. And I think it's like Alfonso Ribeiro, I think is his name. But yeah, he has like a completely normal life, normal wife, normal kids and everything. And you got Will Smith over here who portrayed this image of like cool, and whatever, and I guess chased by women and stuff like that. But he really on the inside, his life was a mess,
Oh yeah. Do you remember the rant he did about his dad on what was it, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yeah, I think yeah, the one where his dad basically like didn't he basically broke down. It was like one of the most emotional moments of The Fresh Prince. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't lines. He actually did that on set, and they actually kept it in because it was so real and it got what they wanted.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, supposedly he ad-libbed that whole thing about his real dad.
Wow.
And supposedly it's one of the best scenes in The Fresh Prince.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most memorable. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it was all because he was actually really talking about how he felt about his father.
So he was able to go to that place and really give it his all. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. I never knew that. I just remember that scene. I'm pretty sure I just watched that episode like as it aired, and yeah, it always stuck with me. And then I remember re-seeing it a lot later. They're just bringing it up like the top moments of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and that was definitely one of them. It's definitely up there. But yeah,
I mean that's why the guy who played his uncle actually really gave him a real hug. Like
Uncle Phil, bad.
Yeah, the actor who played Uncle Phil, once he saw that this was actually real for Will Smith, that hug was actually real.
Wow. I mean, that's the thing, man. It's like a lot of these celebrities and stuff that have, a lot of this drive and everything. It's because they have been trying to prove themselves worthy, to be accepted. And, and it's unfortunate that Will Smith, his marriage with Jada has not been, you know, roses and rainbows and stuff like that. You know, it's actually been a lot of humiliation and a lot of just, you know, coping and going through it, you know, but never giving up. It just seems like, because he just doesn't feel, I don't know. It's a very weird situation with Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith, because it's like, she obviously wanted Tupac. You know, and she settled for Will, you know, like everybody knows it, you know, and now it's like Will Smith is having to look at his offspring just be like, I don't know, man, his offspring are kind of wild when you look at it, like Jaden Smith, like his little transformation, and you know, all his other kids and stuff. It's just, I don't know, man. It's like Hollywood does a number on your psyche, and then like this whole like trying to recapture the lightning in a bottle, trying to come back out with another rap album and stuff. It's just like, just stop, brother. Just stop, man. Like, just age out like everyone else, man. Stop trying to stay in the limelight, man. Like, you got enough money, right? You know, you had a good run, man.
I mean, his royalty checks from The Fresh Prince, because I know there are still a couple of networks that play it. The royalties he gets from The Fresh Prince, and also the Men in Black franchise, and a couple of other things. I mean, his yearly revenue is in the millions from his peak era.
Yeah, but it just seems like it's like when you get to that level, it's never enough. You know, you always got to keep trying to get more and more. You know, I don't even think it's about money anymore. I think it's just about status at that point. You know, staying on top and not becoming irrelevant. You know.
Yeah, I do get what you mean there.
So,
although sadly, the thing for Will Smith is that I think if he actually went back to his more stronger suits, he could have a decent comeback. I mean, everybody thought that after the which movie was it? I'm trying to remember which Jim Carrey movie it was, but there was one movie that was really, really bad. And, you know, a lot of Hollywood insiders said that, you know, that was it for Jim Carrey. And then he put in his casting for Dr. Robotnik in the Sonic movies. And, you know, that was a massive comeback for Jim Carrey after it wasn't Bruce Almighty. I think it was Mr. Yes after that.
No, I remember he said he was going to like retire from acting, and then he did the Dr. Robotnik, and then that was a massive hit. Yeah. You know? So no, I remember he had the whole full beard, and he was like on this little like truth kick, you know, like just I don't know. I guess maybe he was like invited to a meeting and then he like just denied them or something. I don't know, man. I think maybe he was invited to one of the Illuminati tables and he's just like, I don't like this anymore, man. I don't like Hollywood anymore.
Oh, the thing that's actually not talked about amongst a lot of actors is how they have to toe the line. A lot of actors really don't like it.
Well, that's kind of the backbone of Hollywood, though, right? You know, you got all those producers and all that stuff that you gotta do to get the part and all that stuff. And I don't know, man. You want to be famous, right? It's like, all right,
yeah,
it's kind of wild.
Well, it's not that they don't want to toe the line. It's not that they don't know how to toe the line. It's just at a certain point the line becomes toxic.
Yeah,
and there's just too many who toe the line, but they just let it bleed everywhere. And you know, I mean, there's a reason why, you know, a lot of Hollywood stars are so tight-lipped about things, because they know if they start talking, you know, it's basically we get excised from the business.
Yep.
And everything. And I don't like that they do that, but I do understand keeping the image.
Of course. I mean, look at what's it called, Rick Moranis, man. Like he got out of it because he was just like he wanted to focus more on his family and everything. You got like that end of the spectrum, and then you got people that stay in it. You know, like what's his face, like Tom Cruise. You know, and it's like I feel like Tom Cruise has a death wish, man. Like he's just like, look. Like because of the whole Scientology thing or whatever like that. And then I just recently was looking into like Eyes Wide Shut, that movie by what's his face, Stanley Kubrick, and how he died in editing of that movie and stuff, and how they're, it really exposed the powers that be, the ones that are, pulling the strings and all that stuff. And they were not too happy about that movie being made, so then, it just seems like it just led to this thing about Tom Cruise. Like, I don't know, maybe like, look, man, it's like, yeah, I was a part of this thing, and maybe I played ball a little bit, so I still get all these opportunities. And whereas the messenger, who was the director, he basically didn't live to see the movie. Yeah. And it just kind of says like there's no amount of effort that where you go against the grain that doesn't end with consequences.
Yeah, I mean, one of my professor, well, he didn't have his doctorate, but he taught up at the University of Utah, and I was in one of his classes. He was actually a retired rock star, and he did gigs sometimes just for extra money. But I jokingly brought up one day, oh yeah, I bet they blackmailed a bunch of people for this. And he actually heard me say that. He turned, that's the nicest stuff that I ever heard happening to some of these people.
Yeah. Mr. Burger Sleuth just joined the chat. Welcome. He says, Jesus is the truth. Hell is real. We all sin. He died on the cross to pay for our sins, was buried and rose again on the third day. Put your faith in him alone to save you. Trust in what he did for you. Thank you, Mr. Burger Sleuth, for joining us with that. It does seem, that a lot of people are claiming that we are in the end times in terms of like, just the way things are going and how, people are becoming desensitized to all of this violence, and the people aren't even believing their eyes. They're seeing this stuff and they're wondering if it's AI or not, or they're wondering if there was a conspiracy, or if Mr. Charlie Kirk is still alive and it was just all a ruse, but it's like, it just doesn't make sense. People, I don't know. People don't know what to think these days, and the world has gotten to a place now where, information is at our fingertips, and it's like, you can't avoid tragedies, we are, it's like, the internet has made everything too accessible. And, the Charlie Kirk thing, that is some Faces of Death shit. I don't know if you remember Faces of Death, that whole website, back in the early 90s. It was like kind of popular with a lot of young guys. I know a lot of young guys would like be like, yo, did you see this Faces of Death thing? And they had like whole volumes of videos of people like offing themselves and everything. And it's like it was taboo back then, but it just seems it's almost kind of normalized now.
That was a rumor when I was in junior high.
What's that?
What you were just talking about, the Faces of
Death.
That was a room. When I was in junior high, that was a rumored website.
No, it was real. No, it was real. Only because I know it personally. Like, I had the morbid curiosity to check it out, and yeah, man, it made me feel dirty, And I mean, that stuff has kind of evolved into like, if you want to go on Reddit and stuff, Reddit has stuff like that too. But yeah, it's one of those things that it always stayed with me as a kid. That it really messed me up, Like we're not supposed to be seeing dead bodies like that. We're not supposed to be seeing war going on and then just seeing civilians in the street and just scattered about, you know, like we're not supposed to see that stuff. You know, it does something to our souls that is irreparable. You know, it will always stay with us. And yeah, it's the dark side. It's the dark side of our brains, man. So.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I remember being in combat training and they were showing us pictures of what rifle rounds could do to your body. It wasn't pretty.
Dude, I've seen videos of hollow point bullets, not like demonstration videos, but just like actual stuff. And yeah, it's pretty horrifying, dude. And it's hard to get out of my brain. Exo Charles says that movie red pilled me. Are you talking about Eyes Wide Shut? I mean, I could see that. I could totally see that. But you know, even when you look back on it, they marketed it as like, you know, like a sex film, basically. You know, like the broader message of it was kind of muddied a little bit because they didn't want it to be like an elite type of like dissection, you know, like we don't really want to market it like that. We just wanted to be like, oh, it's just like a sex kind of film, you know, and it just kind of lessens the whole message.
I heard a rumor that Eyes Wide Shut. I don't remember if it was. I believe it was Stanley Kubrick. There was like 10 or 15 minutes of the movie that you know really kind of personified the movie, and then when they took that to the screenings for people to watch, the entertainment industry said you need to edit that like 10-15 minutes out, and
right.
Kubrick said hell no. You know, this is the crux of the film. You know, if you take this out, the film doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're like so what? They're like, that's kind of what the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after he died, that was taken out of the film, and that was what was put out in theaters. But a lot of people said the movie didn't make sense. Right.
And I think it was a flop at the time, and it just slowly gathered like a following afterwards and stuff because of like, you know, not really conspiracy, but I guess like the controversy surrounding the film, you know, at least the production side of it. And yeah, it's very interesting, man. It really is. And it's unfortunate that we will never see the director's cut. You know, it's just one of those things that, you know, they were too fast at covering it all up, man. And
I imagine if we actually did get to see the director's cut, it'd be quite the trip.
yeah it's that's the thing, man. The people that worked on the movie, you know, I'm sure they've all been silence paid off or whatever, or, you know, like, hey, you saw what happened to the director, right? You know,
yeah, more than likely payments, NDAs, and, you know, look what happened to Stanley Kubrick. We wouldn't want any accidents now, would we?
Exactly. You know, he was a name, but you're a nobody. You know, we can there's a lot of desert out west, so but
pick a place. Southern Utah, the Death Valley in between Nevada and California.
I was gonna say New Mexico as well. There's a lot of desert there too.
New Mexico, or you could go find a nice pleasant grove of trees in Wyoming.
It's true. Let's keep going, man. Let's keep going.
There was a court video of Tyler hearing his charges today. He heard that death penalty hanging over him, and he looked like he could care less.
Mr. Robinson, for count 1, aggravated murder, a capital felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-5-202, in that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Charlie Kirk under the following circumstances. Notice conviction of this offense may carry the death penalty or pursuant to Utah Code 76-3-207.7, a mandatory term of imprisonment for life without parole or an indeterminate term of not less than 25 years that may be for life.
Just sitting there like, okay, whatever, zero remorse. Dude is a real demon. Look at that thug right there. It's crazy because there's, I guess, some evidence, some text messages that are coming out. I can't hold, they look low-key fake, faker than a TikTok skit. Because who the hell writes vehicle in a text message at 22 years old? I mean, Twitter been lighting that up. Man, people are way too obsessed with this division. It's literally getting people fired and kicked out of school. And the irony of all this is it's the same crowd that won't shut up about free speech. They scream free speech until somebody flips the mirror on them and gives them the exact same energy they've been throwing at everybody else. And then suddenly they out here snitching, tattletelling.
Sadly, that is fundamentally untrue. You don't sit here and see conservatives and right-wingers trying to shut them down. They haven't. It's actually been their employers who are dealing with this incredibly hot situation. And, you know, it's called, if we keep these people, then this affects our business.
Yeah.
And if this affects our business, you know, we lose money. And do we really want to lose, you know, who knows how much money, how much business? You know,
the
U.S. has always had free speech, and it's never not had free speech. But you got to remember the fundamental rule. Yes, you can open up your mouth and say whatever you want, but you got to remember where you're saying and where you're doing it. Because if you put your face on camera and there are people out there who will be like, oh, look at what you said. Does your employer agree with this? No, they don't. I mean, there's even a guy, I don't remember which state he's in, but he's kind of got somewhat of a troll channel on YouTube. And, you know, his thing is F you, Karen. I mean, that's one of his channel slogans. You know, almost everybody who's gone on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, who are all cheering about this, about Charlie Kirk's assassination, you know, he started just looking for information and started sending it to their employers, which
yes, I know exactly who you're talking about. Yes, I've seen this.
Yeah,
I think he got like 30 people. He got like 30 people fired, man. And he's like literally keeping count.
Oh yeah, he's keeping count. But the thing is that whether he did it or not, eventually it would have come back to them.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing, man. People recognize people all the time on the internet, and people are just openly, you know, they're not just doing it on like YouTube or TikTok where it's like millions and millions of people. They're doing it on like their personal Facebook pages, you know, like where their friends and family can see it. And, you know, people that are just like, dude, I know this person and I know exactly where they work and everything like that. And I disagree. And it's just really just taking like one person to make that phone call to be like, look, this person is like celebrating, you know, the death or whatever. And then you know, they're like upper management, or some people actually work for like the government or military, you know, it's just like, I don't know, man. It just seems like these conversations need to be like in person, not online as a record. You know, it's like, sheesh.
That recruiter, every Marine that I know was in an uproar about that. It was bad.
Well, the dude was laughing, man. I don't know if we're talking about the same guy, but there was a guy that was part of the military he was wearing fatigues and everything. And yeah, he was like completely just laughing his ass off about it. I'm just like, come on, man. It's like,
yeah, he was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Corps is going to force his commission to be resigned.
Yeah.
He's not. Well, more than likely, what they're going to do is they're going to relieve him of duty. Then they're going to put in his admin papers about this, and if he was planning on being a career, you know, it's gone.
Dishonorable discharge, you think? You think do you think that's like worth getting it that way, or do you think that's not like extreme enough?
Well, To a degree, it depends on who the president is. I mean, I can remember there was a Marine staff sergeant up at Camp Pendleton who got up on his Facebook page, and he's put up there a lot of bad things about, at the time, President Barack Obama. And his command initially tried to say it was just him being free speech. And then when higher levels actually looked at it and said, we get free speech, but he's talking about the commander-in-chief, and you can't really talk like that about the commander-in-chief. And they couldn't give him a dishonorable they couldn't DD him out. It wasn't feasible. I think what they did was give him a general discharge under honorable conditions. But he got processed out in a few months because of what happened.
Right.
As for the recruiting captain, more than likely what's going to happen is he's going to get a write-up that's going to go in his service book that's basically going to kill his career, and he's going to finish out his contract at some desk job where he is not public facing, and then they're just going to as soon as he's done, they're like, thanks for serving, bye.
Damn.
The military has very little tolerance for some of this stuff, especially in some situations. And as for his discharge, assuming that's his major thing, more than likely they'll just give him general under honorable, unless he does something else like DUI, which is theoretically possible. But most ways they deal with this is general under honorable conditions, unless he has done something else that warrants him getting a bad conduct or a dishonorable discharge.
Gotcha. Well, either way, man, people need to move a little bit smarter, and maybe not be so emotional and making these emotional decisions, take some time to just let it marinate for a bit and maybe even sleep on it. That's kind of a tried and true thing that seemed to always work. Maybe go sleep on it and see if you feel the same way, the next day, and you don't have any regrets.
Oh yeah.
So
sadly, impulse control is something that the modern Western world is lacking.
Well, I think it's just the urge to go viral. I think a lot of people want to go viral, but I don't know. I think at the same time, people don't want to go viral. They're like, I didn't know it was going to go viral, my views and stuff. But I mean, it's just like, I don't know. You go on TikTok, man, it just takes one video, man. That's all it takes to get you in the algorithm. And then before you know it, you're like 1 million views overnight. And then, then you're getting that letter at your job that, I'm so sorry, but we don't need this type of representation online, And so that's
there was that nurse that reported a doctor, and the sad part is his medical ethics prevented him from actually, doing that in a hospital.
Oh man, yeah. That's the thing, man. It's like we all got phones. A lot of people, they all have platforms and stuff, and they just want to, I don't know. Something just flips in their head, man. They're like, you know what? I feel so strongly about this. I'm going to say something, and it's again, man, it's the emotional thought process, and it just takes, you just gotta, I don't know, man, take a moment to just think of what you're doing, man. And I think that's another thing. People, they don't weigh up what could happen. They don't think around the entire situation. They're just thinking of the right exact moment. They can't think of anything further than that. And that's where a lot of people get tripped up.
I mean, that's where the phrase comes of living in the moment and then, regretting the future. It's the same. It's the alcohol.
Yes.
You sit there and you're pounding whatever. You've got your favorite, beer, and you've got like 5 bottles in front of you, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm so happy, and then you decide to drive yourself home.
Mm-hmm.
Or Or it's you got that you've got like 5 shots of Hennessy in front of you, and it's like, I'm gonna be numb tonight.
Right. I don't know, man. I think it's just a mix of everybody being online, and then a lot of people being desensitized. So it's like they don't know what the limits are anymore, because we've had just this last 20 years of just dealing with a lot of propaganda, a lot of fear mongering, and just a lot of people kind of getting away with a lot of stuff that you can't get away with in today's time.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's kind of where like a lot of people are like, dude, I could have said this stuff like 10, 15 years ago and nobody would bat an eye. Some people might even like agree, but it's like the fact that I said it openly on like a privately owned platform and stuff. Now people are just coming for me. They're getting all my information, trying to figure out where I'm at, and they're doxing me and sending me death threats and stuff. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, that's the internet. The internet's a wild, wild west right now, dude. You're going to have people that are going to take the time to hack your account. They're going to take the time to find out your information, and they're going to do what they want, because they're like, look, man, you want to be all big and bold and have this opinion, well, we're gonna make you regret that,
Yeah, and that's
So
part of the reason why I do my YouTube channel is faceless.
that's smart. Yeah. See, the thing is, I'm kind of a neutral party. Like I said before, it's just about it's like humanity at the end of the time. At the end of the day, like I can look at people on a human perspective. I don't have to agree with you to have a conversation with you. I've said that before. Like I can talk to anybody, and still come to kind of like a relatable, common ground, like I can understand where you're coming from, if you have opposing views to me, or, just all completely different ideology, I can understand. I'm not gonna be the one to be like, well, you're wrong. You need to change up whatever, or you're just going down this wrong path. No, it's like, what do I know? I'm just another guy on the internet, bro. We're all trying to figure things out. And in terms of trying to figure out what is safe nowadays, that's still kind of up in question right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, most people most people who inhabit the red pill sphere outside of maybe the MRM, a lot of them are just faceless because of just the sheer amount of retaliation they get.
Right. But that's the thing, man. It's like, I think I've said this before too, man. They can't demonetize you if you're not monetized. So at least I'm in that kind of gray area right now where I don't have to worry about that. But I mean, I definitely don't want to lose my platform, just from somebody interpreting whatever I'm saying as like hate speech, because that's all it takes is just mentioning the name of somebody for somebody to be like, no, you can't say a word. You didn't know him like I knew him, and then that's all. That's where it starts, So.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it just seems like people are publicly outraged, or so easily to be publicly outraged, and it's kind of like their whole MO. They just want to find somebody to get mad at, We call them Karens in real life, and then online trolls and whatever you want. But I think there are people that are just that's just like their life path is to be publicly outraged over whatever the common sentiment is.
Well, it's more along the quote that from the first Men in Black movie, where K and J are sitting before he became Agent J, and he's like, well, why don't you just tell people? And K turns to him and says, "Person's smart, people are sheep. A person can understand that this particular, these aliens are just, looking for refugee. They're not here to cause problems. They're just here to live their lives away from the problems that are on their planets. However, people are sheep. You put a news story in front of them, and you've got at least half, if not, 75%, running around screaming about alien invasion, and then that leads to violence.
Right.
Individual people can be smart, but when you start getting, mass panic going, people will do whatever.
Yeah, they'll draw their own conclusions and they'll come up with their own theories, and then there's the people that just like trust no one. Everybody's lying to you. Which that's the thing about this whole Charlie Kirk situation. There's a lot of information that's out there, and it's really tough to parse through what is a theory and then what is a legitimate argument and what's opinionated. It's like you just kind of have to just kind of take it all in and not really don't really form, or I guess attach yourself to any one opinion, because it's all kind of a gray area at the end of the day. Like the only people that truly know who are responsible were the people that committed the thing, and whatever we see on the media and stuff is that's controlled as well.
Oh yeah.
So I that's the thing. I try not to delve too much into conspiracy theories or, just public distrust of government and stuff like that. Like, I think government is needed. I do think that, maybe smaller government might be better, but at the same time, it's like, I don't really have a solution to a lot of these problems that we deal with every day. I don't know what the quick fix is. If there even is a quick fix. But one thing I don't think is the solution is dividing the nation and pointing the finger at certain people and, ostracizing certain groups of people because of just the way they think, I don't think that's the solution.
No, it's not. Just let's go back to the 90s where we have Al Gore, pitching a fit about global warming and how he's saying that, by I think what was his original statement? By like 2012 or something like that, the world would be completely uninhabitable.
Well, I think it was like the global warming was going to melt the ice caps, and it was just going to like the oceans were going to rise, and it was going to basically global warming was basically going to come for us all, and maybe not in our lifetime, but definitely in our children's lifetime, because it's just it's an inconvenient truth. I remember I watched that. I watched that in school, actually. Now I remember, and the thing is, what a lot of scientists came out and said was that the research on that, it is kind of kooky, it is kind of like fear mongering in a way, to maybe reduce your carbon footprint and stuff. But like I said, man, it's like you're going to encounter a lot of people that claim that they know the truth, and it's natural to have the skepticism to not believe it,
Oh yeah, that's norm.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sir, we have gone over by about 5 minutes. I'm gonna have to end it here. I do appreciate you hanging out with me. No problem. But Ghostblade, if you wouldn't mind, I can call you Ghostblade on here, even though it's was it Tea and Toast with Ghost? That is your YouTube channel. If you wouldn't mind plugging your YouTube channel real quick. Anybody wants to check you out?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. My channel is Tea and Toast with Ghost. I am the titular host, Ghost. I talk about almost every topic that I can get to. On live streams that I do every Sunday, I do ask that we keep some questions YouTube friendly, because there are topics that YouTube does not want you talking about. So you can always catch me there every Sunday at 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, folks.
So we'll see you tomorrow then.
Indeed.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you coming out. To all the hustlers that came out, appreciate you. K5, thank you for stopping by. Burger Sleuth, thank you again for coming by. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Maybe we might have VillaTube grace us with his presence. VillaTube, this was supposed to be your night, but I guess we're gonna have to postpone it for another time. Again, hope you guys all have a good weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening, Sunday evening now, Sunday morning now, and then I guess I'll see you on the next one. So you guys have a wonderful evening. This is Camp Hustle 1 out.
Take care. Oh, just before you sign off, I forgot I changed the time. My usual time is 10. It's actually 5 p.m. tomorrow. My bad.
5 p.m. All right. So you guys go check him out. And yeah, right. Peace out, man.
Peace, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Take it easy, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one.
Game of maze, taking souls for free. No invoice, no delays. Debating Sonic, spitting logic, making waves. Hustlers unite every Saturday night. We shine bright, got the spotlight in sight. Live stream flames, haters take flight. Chopping it with Hank, keep the vibe airtight. Commentary live, no script, just pure flair. Every bar a dagger, leaving doubters in despair. This ain't just a hustle, it's a kingdom we declare. Building brick by brick, we ain't folding under glare. Hank Russell in the cut, breaking bread, trading thoughts. While they talk trash, we strategize and plot. Every stream of canvas, every word a stroke of art. We out here taking names, pulling strings, playing smart. Hustlers unite every Saturday night. We shine bright, got the spotlight in sight. Live stream flames, haters take flight. Chopping it with Hank, keep the vibe airtight.